It's interesting, only 13 years old, Rowdy.
Yeah, a lot of teenagers here in this first B final. And what many consider as the decathlon of swimming. Grueling event. I think a lot of, I've been thinking about it over the years, how a lot of people take this event for granted sometimes about really how difficult it is and how much fitness is so important in an event like this. Michael Phelps will tell you that back in 2012, he wasn't at that level where he could compete in a 400 9. He did a great job anyway, he finished fourth. But for the world record holder, it's one of these events that, man, you really have to train, Rich, day in and day out for a 400 IM. You cannot get by on an event like this. Sometimes you can get by an event like a 1500, not trained, maybe even 200, but not the 400 IM.
And I know you, like me, like this event because of the different strokes. You see some lead changes.
You see a lot of lead changes. Obviously, that's where strategy is just so critical in an event like this.
And toward the bottom of your screen in lane 6, that is Ashlyn Fiorelli of Texas Ford Aquatics.
I was going to say butterfly is, is the stroke that you have to kind of think about breathing early and often. Backstroke, you can't really relax. You have to let legs do some of the work, but not too much because they've got to set up the breaststroke, which is such a critical stroke for this event. The back, it's almost like a kicking of a 200 backstroke. You want to feel like you want to build each 50 going into each wall. The very best IMers, if you look at their splits, their second 50 are always better than their first 50. So they're kind of building. That's exactly right. They're building each 100.
Helena Gasson of New Zealand. New Zealand sending a strong contingent here to Mesa this week. And she had the lead at the last wall. She's in lane 4. Lane 1 at the top of your screen. Lane 8 at the bottom.
6 teenagers, as I mentioned. American record, looking back at that, Hosu breaking the world record last summer. That American record is one of the oldest on the books for women. 4:31.1. It's been close. I mean, a lot of swimmers, including Elizabeth Beisel and Maya Dorado last summer, went 4:31.15 to grab the silver at Rio, and that was only 3/100ths of a second. But after 9 years, Hoff's American record still stands. And I don't think it's going to be touched this summer, especially with the retirement of Maya Dorado.
So to the trials in 2008, and at that last, well, what a great backstroke leg by the 13-year-old Mariah Dennigan, who had the lead, but she's given it back now in the breaststroke lead to Helena Gasson. Cox 1.2 behind, and then Dennigan a couple of seconds behind.
Can't glide too long on the breaststroke. You certainly are tempted to here in this third 100. Things are starting to scream a little bit. You have to resist that temptation. Keep the hands moving. Got to think about the core and rocking it forward with every stroke.
And remember, in the A final, we're going to see Katie Ledecky swimming the 400 IM, along with Ella Easton. Those two traded off, setting the American record in the 400-yard IM at the Pac-12s and NCAAs. So now into the freestyle leg with Helena Gasson, lead of more than 2.5 seconds over Hannah Cox. Cox swims for Tucson Ford Dealers Aquatics, and so she's right here in state.
I think you talked about it last night, Rich. New Zealand bringing a real strong contingent here to Mesa. They are one of the most improved countries on the world scene. I think Canada really has to top that list over the last couple of years.
And interesting that New Zealand brought so many swimmers here the week after their World Championships qualifying.
For swim fans, they might know the name Lauren Boyle, who's been at the top of the scene for so many years in distance freestyle, and of course Daniel Loader, a past Olympic medalist.
Hannah Cox, the 19-year-old from Heartland, Virginia, in lane 2, passing Helena Gasson in the final 25 meters here. And Hannah Cox, what a great freestyle leg. And she's going to take the B final of the 400 IM. Cox time here in the evening, almost 9 seconds better than her prelims time this morning.
Just off her lifetime best.
And Mariah Denigan, the 13-year-old, 4:54.95. And that is 1/100th off her personal best. Strong leg here on the freestyle for Hannah Cox.
Cox brought it home toward the top of your screen right there. Lane number 2. Nice close to finish it off for the 19-year-old for Tucson Ford.
So Cox, then Gasson, the New Englander, and then, remember that name perhaps, Mariah Denigan, the 13-year-old swimming the 400 IM, and she finishes in 3rd.